What is going on, my amazing Disney Cruise family? In today's video, we're going to be covering everything that you can do to make sure that you don't get seasick on your first Disney cruise. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, the first area that I want to start off with is the pre-cruise preparation. This is where we are starting to pack everything that we need on our Disney cruise to take with us, but we want to make sure that we are packing the essentials to keep with us just in case we get sick on the cruise. Now, I know some people may say, I'm gonna be good, I'm fine. Listen, if this is your first Disney cruise, I just want to caution you that it is better to be prepared and not need any of these than to need these and not have them. Now, the first most important area, in my opinion, when it comes to this is where you are actually booking your stateroom. When I say this, there's a couple of things that I want to cover here. The first being which type of room you're going to book. When it comes to Disney cruises, you have either an indoor room or you have an outdoor room which has a view of the ocean. My opinion is that if you are somebody who's worried about getting sick, if you're somebody who has maybe some type of motion sickness, I would highly recommend you getting some kind of ocean view room. The reason why I say this is because there is going to be some nights where the boat is just going to naturally rock. And if you have access to the outdoors, I can tell you, as somebody who gets motion sickness, it helps tremendously, because when you start to feel yourself maybe getting a little bit sick, it is so easy to just open the door, and just the fresh breeze that comes through is enough to help you to feel a lot better. On top of that, you can also start to look out towards the horizon, which is going to help you to get your body used to the actual motion. I can say that on all the cruises that I've been on, there's been maybe 1 or 2 nights that have been pretty bad, but because we've had that room, it has made the complete difference. And honestly, if I had an indoor room, I may have been a lot worse off in that. The next part of this is where exactly you're going to be picking your room on the ship. Now, the best rooms in regards to having the least amount of motion when you're actually in the rooms is to have the mid-level ship and to have it as low as you possibly can get it. For example, I'm going to use my little remote to hopefully demonstrate how this works. But if you can see, if we use this and we're moving this back and forth, you can tell that there's a lot of motions as we go to the extreme ends of the actual remote. But if you can tell, the middle point, even though it is moving, it's not moving as much as the front end or the back end of the ship. I think it's the forward and the aft. We're getting there with the actual terminology for cruises. But ultimately, you can see with that demonstration that if you can stay as centered as you possibly can and get as low as you can, you're going to mitigate all of that moving as much as you possibly can. Of course, there is still going to be some rocking, but this is ultimately going to set you up in a way where you're not going to have those crazy drastic up and downs, as you could see when I was demonstrating that. The next pre-cruise preparation that you can do is consulting with your doctor. If you are somebody who is prone to motion sickness, if you're somebody who has maybe anxiety, or if you're like me who is absolutely has so much anxiety about getting sick anywhere that they go and makes themselves ultimately sick by stressing about being sick, I know it's crazy, then you want to talk to your doctor about different types of medications that you possibly can take for this. I know some people don't really want to do that, and that's completely okay. We have some other options that you can do without having to take any medications, but some people just may need that extra medication to help them to make sure that they're not going to overthink things and stress them out and make themselves even more sick. And the last and most common thing that you can do to prepare yourself for this is to bring over-the-counter medications and also natural remedies like ginger or sea bands that will actually act as acupunctures on your hands, or even getting yourself to use some essential oils which can help in certain cases as well. This is the most common things that most people see, right? The sea bands and the Dramamine or Bonine, I believe it's what it is. Don't kill me if I butchered that. But these are the most common things that you're going to see most people bringing because it's readily available. You can use it. They're inexpensive, and honestly, they help out a lot. If you're like me, I still bring these, but a lot of the times this gives me a little bit of a queasy feeling, if that makes sense. Now, this is not to mean that you're gonna get that same reaction. This is just me. I am, for whatever reason, weird when it comes to that. But what I found actually worked the best and is the savior when it comes to this for me is these sea bands here. I was somebody who couldn't tell whether or not this was a placebo or actually worked, but I can tell you that every time that I put this on when I started to feel queasy, I felt so much better. This little thing is the most amazing thing, and I will always bring to me, and it's the most easiest thing that I could do. Whenever I felt myself starting to get a little bit seasick or, you know, whatever it might be, I would just simply open up the pack, take these out, and I went ahead and placed these on my hands. Now you want to make sure, if you can see here, that there's like a little ball at the end of this, and that's what you want to actually make sure is on your wrist. And when you put it on your wrist, for whatever reason, it helped me to make me feel so much better. I'm even feeling calm right now wearing these. It's crazy. I don't know. Again, like I said, this could be a placebo or it could be a real life thing. But I can tell you, and like so many other peoples who have gone on multiple cruises and get actual sometimes seasick, these things are a lifesaver. Again, I would recommend getting all of these just to make sure that you are meeting your needs, because this might not work for you, or the Dramamine might not work for you. You might need some other things that we'll discuss today as well. But again, it is so important to have as much of these as you possibly can, because you are going to be feeling so much better, and glad that you did have these just in case you have those days where the ship is moving or you're just not feeling good, and these things will come in definitely helpful for them. Now that we got the pre-cruise preparations out of the way, let's jump into the onboard things that you can do to help yourself to not feel seasick. The first thing that you can do in this situation is to stay hydrated. A lot of the times you may not think that this is what's causing you to ultimately feel sick, but it is so important for you to stay hydrated, because you can get queasy and get lightheaded because you haven't been drinking enough water. Of course, if you're an adult, you are drinking sometimes, or maybe you're going about walking around and this is the last thing that you're thinking about. But it is so important to make sure that you are taking your water intake, and you're also making sure to carry along a bottle of water with you or something like that, to make sure that you are actually drinking the water that you need when it comes to that. The second thing, and one of the most important things that you want to be aware of, is to eat light. Now, this doesn't mean that you go and eat light every single day. If that's something that you feel like you want to do to help in this scenario, by all means. But what I'm more specifically meaning by this is that if you are somebody who's going on their first cruise and it's the first night, I would highly recommend you eating something light, because it is going to allow your body to acclimate to the cruise. A lot of the times our bodies we have to get our sea legs under us before we can go ahead and fully enjoy the actual cruise. At least that was my experience. The second thing is to get fresh air. Now, I know that we already covered about getting a room if you can with a view, so that way you can get that fresh air. But even if you can't do that, my recommendation is, if you start to feel yourself getting sick, head up to a deck where you can just walk outside and get yourself with that fresh air. I can tell you guys that that is such a game changer as well when it comes to this, because it just almost resets your body, right? There's going to be a lot of times when you're on the ship and there's areas that do not have any windows, and you're going to feel the ship rocking. No matter who you are, you're going to feel a little bit queasy when it comes to it. You're not going to always have these moments where it's just rocking back and forth like you may see on different TikToks or YouTube videos on crazy sea encounters. Those are usually more extreme cruises that go to places that have those. But when it comes to a Disney cruise, the captain does an amazing job to make sure that they're avoiding any type of storms that's going to do that. But of course, it's going to be inevitable and you're going to run into that. The third thing that you can do here is to focus on the horizon. You ultimately want to, when you're on that deck, to just stare out into the horizon and allow yourself to just see out there and get your body acclimated to the motion of the actual ship. And the last part of this particular section is to get rest and relaxation. I hope this is something that you're already doing off the bat when you're going on a cruise, but a lot of the times I know people want to rush and do everything under the sun, and they don't realize that that could be actually attributing to them getting seasick because they're just doing so much at one time. If you feel yourself starting to get queasy, getting a headache, just take a step in the early beginning back and go and relax. Whether that's going to your stateroom and sitting on the balcony if you have that in your room, or just going in your stateroom, putting on the AC and maybe putting on a movie that they have and just relaxing a little bit and hydrating. It is so important to have that in the back of your mind and making sure that you're doing that, because again, there's so much to do. There's so many things that's going on. And of course, we all want to do everything, but there comes a time where our body just simply needs that relaxation to reset. And it doesn't mean that you're going to miss out. There's usually multiple events that is going on, but it is so important for you to catch yourself in the early stages of that, so that way you can get yourself to relax rather than waiting till it's too late and you're going to feel awful trying to get yourself to get better, and it could ruin an entire trip. And the last section is alternative remedies. Now, these are usually stuff that are more natural that most people use, which tend to be more of a hit or miss depending upon the person. And the first would be ginger. Ginger can come in different ways, whether it's a tea, it's candies, or it could be even dry ginger that you might get from the store or something like that. Ginger has a really good ability to help you with any type of nausea, really. That's why most people, when they say they have a stomach ache, drink ginger ale, and it usually can help you to feel better. Of course, again, this is going to be dependent upon you and how you feel. When it came to myself, I personally didn't really think it helped for me. I felt like it made things a little bit worse because it just kind of made my stomach feel weirder, if that makes sense. But all in all, ginger is a really good alternative option that you can use when it comes to this as well. The next thing would be essential oils. When it comes to this, using different essential oils like peppermint or lavender can help to kind of ease your mind and just naturally relax you. Again, this is also another thing that may trigger yourself to feel a little bit worse, because if you're like me, if I am already feeling sick and then I start to smell different things, it kind of reminds me like going to Yankee Candle. I would love to smell all the different scents and stuff in the candles, but after a while I would get a massive headache and start to feel nauseous from that headache. So again, these are things that you want to test out. If you feel like on regular land those things may kind of trigger a headache or anything like that, I would stay away from it. But again, this may be a good remedy for you, because you got to know how your body reacts to it. And the only way that you're going to is to actually go on the cruise and to experience. I want to also point out that Disney Cruise cast members have so many different options and available as well to try to help you with this. So if you are somebody who maybe forgot these things, or maybe there was something that you wanted to bring that you just feel like, I don't need it, and you realize that you could actually use it, just head down to the medical center there and just talk with them, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to give you other remedies to help you feel better on your Disney cruise, because they're always going to look out for you and try to help you in any way that they possibly can and make your experience as magical as it possibly can be. So I hope that you enjoyed this video today. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.